From Wits and Weights, I'm Philip Pape, and this is Nutrition Science Daily, bringing you the latest in nutrition, fat loss, and health science, all in under 5 minutes. For years, sugar has been vilified as a huge culprit in chronic diseases, including heart disease. But what if occasional sweet treats could actually benefit your cardiovascular health? A study published in Frontiers in Public Health has found that moderate sugar consumption might be better for your heart than cutting it out completely. Let's break down what this means and how to apply it to your daily life. The research looked at over 7,000 participants across different age groups and analyzed their sugar intake patterns. The surprising finding, maybe for some of us, is that people who consumed small amounts of sugar occasionally had better cardiovascular outcomes than those who eliminated sugar entirely. The key here is moderation, not indulging in sugar daily or in large amounts, but enjoying it as part of an overall balanced diet. Where have we heard this before? So what is going on here? One reason might be psychological. Who would have thunk? Completely eliminating sugar can create feelings of deprivation, which often lead to binge eating or other compensatory behaviors. Whereas allowing yourself the flexibility to enjoy treats occasionally could help maintain consistency in healthier eating patterns. And I'm going to just do a quick tangent here and say this is exactly what we talk about all the time, where we say, let's not have a rigid restrictive diet. Let's actually include the things we want and not label foods as good and bad, and you're going to have a more sustainable approach. That's exactly what they're finding here. Now, this study also points out sugar itself isn't inherently harmful. It's the dose and context that matter. For example, a teaspoon of sugar in your coffee, a piece of dark chocolate after dinner, that is a far cry from a sugary soda or having, binging on candy, binging on those Sour Patch Kids. Context matters, as does pairing sugar with nutrient-dense foods that buffer at least the short-term impact on blood sugar levels, which again, I'm not going to overblow the impact of blood sugar here if all else equal and everything's healthy and your insulin sensitivity is good. But for a lot of people, this is a problem. There's overconsumption of these sugars. Now, the findings don't give you a free pass, right, to sugar-laden foods. We know that ultra-processed snacks, I talked last week about ultra-processed foods. Many of them do have added sugars, and then they have lots of other things like a high level of sodium and preservatives and just lots of calories, calorie density, not very much fiber, not very many nutrients. And all of these, if they're high part of your diet, you're simply lacking all of the other things that support your metabolism and your metabolic health. And so this study emphasizes that, say, naturally occurring sugars that are in fruits and minimally processed treats are going to be really solid choices for you to include in your diet. So don't be afraid of them. So if I were to give you some tips for incorporating these into your diet, what would they look like? Well, the first one is to have some sort of guardrails or guidelines for the treats that you want to enjoy a few times a week. And I say a few times a week because maybe you don't want to have these daily. You want to allow yourself maybe on a Friday or Saturday to have the ice cream or have the candy or the chocolate, whatever, and plan it in there. And you're not going to have this forbidden fruit effect, this psychological effect. You're just going to keep them in a nice manageable level. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to move on, and you're going to still hit your goals. Number two is pairing things together can be super powerful. So enjoying a sweet treat alongside a nutrient dense or high protein food, right? Like, having some almonds with a piece of chocolate or having some Greek yogurt along with the cookie can actually, not only does it balance it out and kind of slow that sugar absorption, but it makes you feel fuller longer, or makes you feel fuller, and then it prevents you from over consuming the food. And then the third tip I have for you is just quality. Like, go with forms of treats that are really high quality and that you really enjoy. Maybe they're less processed, things with honey, maple syrup, whole fruit-based desserts, rather than ones with a lot of refined or artificial sweeteners, for example. Not that, again, those are good or bad. It's just a matter of you're going to consume a lot of them. You're probably not going to enjoy them that much anyway, and it's going to slow you down if you're trying to, for example, lose fat or manage your calories and macros. So all of these tips can be super helpful. Sugar doesn't have to be an enemy at all. Moderation and mindfulness are really what matter. And so a flexible approach to nutrition allows you to stick to those habits and not feel restricted or guilty. All right, for more similar insights into practical approaches to nutrition that allow you to retain your sanity, check out my main podcast, Wits and Weights, and follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and share this episode with someone who's ready to ditch the all or nothing mindset when it comes to sugar. Tomorrow, we'll explore whether plant-based milk alternatives can match dairy milk nutritionally. And spoiler alert, the answer, as always, is not as straightforward as you think.